What's up, fellow movers, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about the thoracic bridge, which is, in my opinion, one of the best stretches for upper body mobility. If you could choose only one exercise to use for your upper body mobility, that would be the bridge. It is super useful for handstanding and also for developing more complex movement patterns in the future as well. Why is the thoracic bridge so particularly good for especially handstanding? Well, not only does it stretch your pecs, your abs, it opens your shoulder as well as your upper back, but it also puts pressure on your shoulder while doing this, meaning you need to develop strength in the range of motion that you're developing. And this is very useful when talking about handstands, where we need to enter an open shoulder position while having our entire body weight stacked on top of our shoulders. If we just do static stretches without adding this kind of pressure to it, we won't be able to actually hold this position when supporting our body weight. This is why I recommend using thoracic bridges as the main form of mobility training for handstands. In addition to this, when approaching the thoracic bridge, we are actually developing a cool move. I mean, a proper bridge looks pretty nice, right? So the end goal here is not only developing flexibility or mobility, it's also learning a new move. It will also pave the way to more advanced backbending skills and handstand moves that you might want to develop further in the future. In this tutorial, we will approach the bridge in a safe way, starting from simple drills and build our ways through various more advanced drills until we are finally able to do the bridge. We will talk about some common mistakes that a lot of people make when approaching this move, and we will talk about how to implement it into our current routine. Let's talk about prerequisites. Because you need to support your own body weight in a bridge position, or parts of it at least, I definitely do recommend you being able to do wall-supported handstands. But don't worry if you can't do that just yet. I will also introduce exercises that will prepare you for when you are able to. Let's address some common mistakes that people make when approaching the bridge. Firstly, a lot of people start prematurely training the bridge on the floor, even though they might not be ready for it. How would you know if you're ready for it? Well, it's all about the angle of your arms compared to the floor. They should be 90 degrees or even more. If you don't have this, the pressure will be wrongly distributed and you will feel more pressure on your lower back, which will need to compensate for the lower angle in your upper back. A very important aspect of doing back bending in general is learning how to bend the right part of your spine. You really don't want to bend your lower back too much, so we want to focus on really opening up our chest. Now we'll introduce drills that will have you focusing on this particularly, just to sort of get the feeling of how it's supposed to be. As with handstanding, it's very important to have a stable position in our shoulders. So we need to focus on elevating our shoulders, meaning we push our shoulders towards the air or push our hands into the ground so that we enter a position that is transferable to a handstand and develop strength in a stable shoulder position. And another thing we need to consider in order to protect our lower back and to sort of brace it is to tighten our glutes. And especially in the more advanced bridge drills, it's very important to tighten the glutes in order to protect our lower back. Before we get on with the specific drills for the thoracic bridge, let's do a general back bending and hand balancing warm-up. Now let's introduce the mobility drills themselves, starting with the easiest drills, ending up with the more advanced drills. If you're not ready for the inverted drills and wall-supported handstands just yet, the following two drills are an excellent way of building spinal awareness and developing upper back and shoulder mobility. And these exercises are also great to include in back bending warm-ups. The loaded chair bends is an excellent exercise in order to prepare your shoulders and further warm up your spine and your shoulders. As mentioned, the loaded chair bends are excellent if you're not ready for the inverted drills just yet. If you don't have weights of any kind, you can simply creep down the wall with your hands and use the resistance of the friction between the wall and your hands. The contact point between your back and the chair should be approximately where your lower rib meets the spine. In addition to this, you have what I like to call the chest to wall slides. I like approaching the thoracic bridge from a top-down approach, where we're starting from a wall-supported handstand. The first step is simply entering a wall-supported handstand with bent knees and piking our hips and pushing our glutes towards the ground. It's important here to open up our chest and get the right angle between our arms and the floor. And we can even make this slightly more difficult by straightening our knees and entering a straight knee pike position, where we're also focusing on pushing our glutes towards the floor. Another way to go about it is to alternately slide the left and the right foot down the wall when in this bent knee pike position. This will sort of simulate, one leg at a time, the position we're getting into in a thoracic bridge. All of these exercises will prevent any excessive load on the lower back and will help you to focus on opening the thoracic part of your spine. So these exercises are all great in order to get that spinal awareness and to get the feel of where in the spine you are supposed to feel the stretch. They also put a lot of pressure on our shoulders, and we get a really good opener stretch from all of these exercises. The elevated thoracic bridge can be performed on any surface that is elevated from the floor. The higher the surface, the easier it gets. And obviously the lower the surface, the harder it gets. The easier variation is to have bent legs and focus on dropping down the glutes, like discussed previously. But we can also try to push our heels into the surface, squeeze our glutes, and straighten our knees to get a deeper stretch, both in our shoulders and our upper back. Eventually, we will be flexible enough to do the thoracic bridge on the floor, also starting with bent knees. And as we get more comfortable, we can focus on pushing the heels into the ground, straightening our knees while tightening our glutes, and opening up our chest. We might also want to focus on developing more strength in these positions. We can do so by doing dynamic repetitions of all of the previous drills that we just discussed. We simply just go back into a handstand and down to the position again. And this goes for all of these drills. You might need to go back a couple of steps, use an easier drill because this might be harder, but it's super efficient in building strength in the position so that you're ready for more advanced drills. We might also want to develop some flexibility and mobility in our hips, especially our hip flexors, because this is very useful for thoracic bridges and back bending skills. Lastly, I have also uploaded a follow-along backbending routine so that you can get some inspiration of how to perform a routine using these drills. Now that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great day and happy backbending.